Okay, folks, this is more of a discussion video. We are living in an age of millennial sentimentality. What do I mean by that? So, I am on a lot of VHS video cassette collectors forums on Facebook. And there are a lot of niche companies that will do new releases on VHS. I believe the last actual studio mass market VHS release was the movie History of Violence, starring, what's his name? Viggo Mortensen. And I don't know if that last name pronunciation is right, but that movie came out in the mid-early 2000s. And that's kind of the tail end of VHS. And I believe the Disney animated movie Cars had a very limited VHS release. And that's actually quite collectible if you can find a VHS copy. Now, there is a rise in people watching video cassettes here. And recently a small company made a movie on double VHS, Terrifier Part 2, and it is available at Walmart for $29.99. Collectors snatch those up, and now they're selling for like over $100 on eBay. And then if you watch my channel for any length of time and you've seen my video reviews, I often do reviews of movies on VHS, but is it my favorite format? No. It is incredibly bulky. If you look over my shoulder, I have a television set there that I got for free on Facebook Marketplace. It is kind of glitchy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have very high-end VCRs from the 90s, and that's probably the last time you saw a good VCR. They made VCRs up until, I believe, 2016. I think the last production VCR came out, but it was a complete piece of junk. So the last of the great VCRs, I have a Sharp VCR. That's a very high quality one that I got at the thrift shop, missing the remote. It was more expensive to find the remote on eBay than I paid for the actual VCR. And then I have a JVC VCR. But VCRs have a lot of functional problems as they get older. They have rubber idler wheels, the pinch roller is rubber, it starts to get not right, and then you have tracking issues, and you have playback issues. I have tapes that'll play in one VCR but not the other. I've sent tapes to my friend Jonathan that wouldn't even play at all because, again, they're 30 years old, and they lose their clarity. And then let's also talk about the space, right? They look cool as a collector's item. They're big and they're bulky and they look good on a shelf, but they take up way more room than a DVD. And I am all about physical media, so I do have them. But let's do a size comparison here and talk about the formats. I have here 2 never opened copies of Titanic on VHS, still in the shrink wrap. One is the standard 4:3 aspect ratio, because everybody had CRT televisions and they were square, so that picture they trim it. And then one is the actual theatrical way that you were supposed to see it, which is that right there. Let's talk about the size compared to the DVD. It's almost like you have 4 or 5 DVDs to equal 1 double VHS box, right? And again, if you're most DVDs are in the 4:3 aspect ratio, so you're losing some of the picture, and the studios were taking liberties formatting what was actually shot on film. And then recently, I picked this up for someone in a VHS forum that lives in Maine, and I'm going to send it to them via media mail, which isn't too bad. Your Band of Brothers VHS box set. This would have been the tail end of VHS, because this came out in 2001. But it was released around 2002 on VHS. So it does have a coolness factor, because if you have a lot more room, check it out. But let's look at how many tapes it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tapes. One of them is a documentary and not the actual show. Compare that to the DVD release. It takes up a ton of room. I paid $5 for this used, and I paid $5 for this used. But this is obviously also 4:3 aspect ratio. They format it to fit TVs of the time. And, you know, this comes with a cool metal collector's tin. And it, in its own way, it still has all the information that the VHS box had. It's just a different, more accurate presentation, right? Because if it's digital, if you take good care of your discs, they should last forever. I don't believe DVDs have a shelf life. I've read that they do, but I've only had 1 or 2 used DVDs that I bought that wouldn't do playback, and they looked perfectly fine. So I think this is more of a sentimental type of thing. The limitations are the age. They don't make new tape decks anymore, so, or VCRs anymore. So eventually there will come a day where, even though I have a copious amount of tapes, and I even have a tape as old as 1979, Phantasm on VHS, and it still plays okay, but there will come a day where I won't be able to play back anymore, because there's no one that services VCRs anymore, at least not in my area. I live in Northern California. There used to be TV VCR repair places everywhere when electronics were serviceable, right? But we live in an era now where you could buy a brand new DVD/Blu-ray player for 25 bucks at Walmart or Target. Nobody's fixing that if it breaks. You used to pay $500, $700 for a VCR. It was a serviceable item. If something broke, you could get parts. Find a service technician that will work on that now. You can't find it. So I think there will come a day where I won't be able to watch my videotapes. And the reason I do buy videotapes, if I haven't seen it, I will pick up a VHS copy for 25 cents at the local thrift shop, and I'll check it out. And perhaps it's a movie that I really enjoyed, then I'll seek out a DVD copy. But even those used, you know, look at this. I picked this up, and I did not pay. Well, maybe I did pay. I got this at a record store, and I really wanted a copy, and I didn't order it on Amazon. I just wanted to go pick it up. I paid $14.99 for this used. Now I find DVDs at the thrift shop for $1.50 if I'm going to the right one. So that's my little foray. VHS versus DVD. I prefer the DVD quality. I prefer the size of a DVD. I'm not one of those guys. I have friends that'll throw all this away and just take the disc and put it in a book, so then it's even less space that is taking up. But I'm all about having the box. And to me, this does have a purpose for viewing cheaply and finding it in the wild at the thrift shop, right? If you've never seen this show, Band of Brothers, I'm currently rewatching it for the 3rd time with my buddy Steve. Highly recommend it. And I find these used all the time. I have 2 copies of this on DVD just to give it away to a friend who might be interested. And then this is going to a random guy from a VHS group in Maine. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.